of the Mental Health Compulsory Assessment and Treatment Amendment Bill. The ACT caucus spent a lot of time thinking and considering this bill, and we'd like to commend the Honourable Winnie Lebain for this initiative. It's entirely appropriate that we have this debate in this very serious manner, and I know that members in the House do take this issue extraordinarily seriously. We've traversed the wide range of issues, as I say, within our caucus, from the privacy concerns right through to the right to have access to information for family members. The ACT Party caucus will be splitting its vote on this bill, and Sir Roger Douglas will speak later in support of it, but the other 4 ACT members will be opposing it, and I'll come to the reasons for that in a moment. The debate is not about the stigma of mental illness. The debate is around the involvement of family in the treatment of their loved ones. Dr. Paul Hutchison very carefully and thoughtfully outlined the law as it currently stands, and I'd like to support the comments that he made. Clinicians do their very best under very difficult circumstances in many cases, and despite the fact that the figures and the research that both the Honourable Winnie Lebain and the previous speaker Jim Anderton spoke of, not all families are well functioning, sadly, and not all are supportive of their loved ones with mental illness. Sometimes there doesn't seem to be, sadly, very much love in the equation. And we have to think very carefully about how we have a safe situation for all patients when they suffer from a mental illness and are not responsible for their own actions. Having worked for a short time in the area of psychiatry, and after talking to a number of clinicians who are involved today, I would like to say that this bill sadly has the potential to have unintended consequences that I don't think anybody in this House, any member, would be happy with. For people suffering from a mental illness who are in an abusive situation, whether that be violence, sexual abuse, or a number of other abusive situations, their family situation is not ideal, and the requirement for a clinician to consult with family members is not always an appropriate one. The law as it stands, Mr. Speaker, actually, as Dr. Paul Hutchison outlined, allows for the consultation with families, involvement where appropriate, and the decision is allowed to be made by the clinician, him or herself. It's very important to remember that they are the experts in this case, and if we have a situation where in deciding to consult with the family we're then very rigid and prescriptive about what must follow, clinicians might in some instances sadly decide that it's all too hard and decide not to consult with the family when in fact it might well be the best course of action. For Parliament MPs who are not faced with the consequences and the troubles, in fact, that many people face on this daily basis would be totally inappropriate. We also, in our caucus, discussed at length the Privacy Act. It's often used inappropriately, it's often used misleadingly, and it's often used as a tool to prevent sometimes information being passed on. Although that is sadly the case, Mr. Speaker, it would be inappropriate for us to cast that situation and impose a change in law on what we have in the Mental Health Compulsory Assessment and Treatment Amendment Bill as it stands at the moment. The issue there would be that we should deal with the Privacy Act and the implications that it might have on certain situations, this amongst them. So in summary, Mr. Speaker, the ACT Party will be voting 4 in opposition to this bill and 1 in favour. The 4 members who will be opposing it feel that, in fact, in practical terms, nothing is likely to change with this legislation. Nobody is precluded from consulting it for families at the moment. Good clinicians already do so, and sadly we fear that the unintended consequences that may result from the bill may in fact see that clinicians are less likely to consult with families rather than more. Thank you.